Kevin.
Victoria.
Liz.
Victoria.
Serious meeting. I have written something.
You've written something.
This looks
For
very
you.
serious.
For Kevin. I did one for Liz. I will explain why I did not print it out. It's actually very laugh-worthy. But I've written you a song.
You wrote me a song.
I wrote you a song.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Am I supposed to sing this? I hope not, because I'm.
So, I did ask him earlier in the day. I did not know what his favorite song was. And he tells me that there's some song by Drake. And I listened to, I'll be honest, I listened to 10 seconds and I was like, I'm not going to sing this on a podcast recording that is going on YouTube and Spotify. However, I will just print out the lyrics. So it's to the tune
of that song?
Of that song by Drake, Drew Picasso. Yeah, that one.
His new album, For All the Dogs.
And so I wrote this song for you. So I don't know if you want to just read. I don't know if you want to do your Drake voice.
We need to hear
I can't do the Drake voice.
But I want you to at least read the lyrics.
Verse 1. Oh, Coach Kev, the master of the game. In the world of esports, you've earned your fame. This is amazing already. With every victory, you lead the team. Your strategies are like a winning team. Chorus. Coach Kev, you're the champion we adore, guiding us to victory forevermore. The virtual arena will always stand tall. With you by our side, we'll never fall.
Keep going.
By day, a network and system specialist too. You conquer the tech world. There's nothing you can't do. But when you're not working, you're gaming away, unleashing your skills in the digital fray.
Keep going. There's one other piece you gotta get to.
I already see verse 3. This is the chorus again. I'm not going to go through that. Verse 3. Leo, your faithful companion. Leo is my 5-month, 6-month-year-old corgi puppy I have at home. Leo, your faithful companion, always by your side. A dog so loyal, your bond cannot hide. In Manorville, you make your home where gaming and triumph forever roam.
So I'm going to pause you there, and I want you all to know that I wrote this for Kevin in about 5 seconds. How did I do this?
You're a genius.
I'm a genius. That's
Obviously, we knew that already.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we'll come back to reality a little bit. So although I wish I had the talent to write that song for Kevin, he definitely deserves it, but I used AI, which is quite the hot topic in education, especially, but I think everywhere, even in my husband's job, and he's in medical physics, still trying to understand what he does, but he's also using AI. So it's definitely a topic that we wanted to bring to the table to discuss today. And I want to introduce our Director of Instructional Technology, Liz.
Hello, everyone.
Via email, it's Elizabeth.
Yes.
If you've gotten emails from her.
Yes.
Weis. Yep. So this is kind of twofold for all of you because we are going to talk AI, but also simultaneously introduce our director. So I'm going to pass the invisible mic to you, and so you can introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet everyone virtually, kind of. But I've been making my home here at ConnectQuad probably for about a little over a month now. I think I've been here, right, guys? A little over a month.
You started on 9/11, so
I did. So a little over a month. It's been really great to get to know everybody here and be a part of this amazing team. ConnectQuad is really lucky to have such an amazing technology team and all of these resources. This is not my first time being involved in a technology department. I come from South Huntington, where I was involved in the technology department there as a coach for a while and a literacy specialist before that. So right now here I'm learning a lot about everybody and their roles, but I'm also really enjoying learning about ConnectQuad and what they're doing. And bringing what I have to offer as far as knowing about curriculum and the technology to the table here. So I'm really excited to talk about AI today with you and share a little bit about what I know and what we've got going on here at ConnectQuad.
We have a lot going on in Connecticut.
We do.
We always have a lot going on in Connecticut, and that's why we had created that poster, or that first thing that's usually in the beginning of our podcast, so everyone sees it all the time, and it said, join us for the T in IT.
Yes.
So we've got the T on AI this week. It's not in IT, but we're going to flip it to AI. And I think, whenever we hear the term artificial intelligence, it's so broad that we can sit here and talk about it for hours and hours. In training purposes, it could be a multiple day training. So what I'd like to do is just kind of define it for us. What is it? And how does it apply to us in education and technology? Because we're always looking from that point of view. So I know in regards to myself, when I heard about it, I was like, the first initial thought that I had was, okay, we're opening up a can of worms, right?
Right.
that's what came to my mind, and I'm just like, how are we?
I thought of Terminator. I
Yes.
thought of iRobot. I thought of all the movies in which machines now take over. I still think that, but hopefully we don't get there.
We're not. Everyone needs to relax. It's gonna
No.
be
Bring it on.
Bring it
gonna
on.
be fine.
Kevin's gonna be there, standing up, like ready for it.
Come on, robots. No.
But we think of all of the possibilities, I think, that can happen. We see it in movies for years now, and now it's actually happening here. So you always think, okay, how is this going to impact me?
Yeah.
Or is there anything that...
Yeah, I think the most important thing to do first is to define what AI is. Because a lot of educators, if we're thinking from an educational perspective, really hear AI and they go to that place. They think about robots taking over the world. So first we really need to know, well, what is AI exactly? And AI is based on a large language model. AI is not actually intelligent. It's not smart. What it does is it pulls all of its language from the internet. It goes into all the resources that it has, all the books, all the articles, whatever it may have, and it pulls from there. And based on data and predictive science and coding, what it does is it generates something for you. So what we're actually using right now, because when we think of AI, most of us as educators automatically go to ChatGPT. That's what we're thinking of right now, which has kind of launched us into this conversation. Generative AI is AI that generates something. So it takes all of that information and then it generates a product based off of that. So it's not actually smart. It's not really thinking. It's
doing our homework.
Yeah.
That's how I like to look at it. It's doing the homework for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it reminds me of when the internet came out. It's like, okay, what are we doing? We went from libraries looking, at the cards, where am I finding the resource book? We've always taken a step towards making things easier, right? And I think we're going to discuss today also about how are we utilizing these resources to help us, It's not, I don't want everyone that's listening to think that it's a hindrance. I think we have to look at it as a positive.
Absolutely. I think it's a very good resource, and we're in like the very, like what you said, like it's like kind of the days of like the internet starting and things like that. We're in like the very early stages of it, which is exciting, and it is intimidating. Listen, even from a technology perspective, it's intimidating, but I think it's a very good opportunity to grow. And learn new things and expand on what we already have implemented on the instructional side, even on the back end for us. Productivity, things like that. It's exciting. Like you said, as long as everybody does their homework on it, and the more it evolves, the better it's going to get. And just like anything else would change, over time, everybody will adapt to it.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like when we had access to Google. It's like, oh, well, kids can Google the answers, right? But it's okay, everyone's good. Like, we have Google open. It's not closed. So I think we have to look at it from that lens.
And that's what we really have to remember is we need that human eye on whatever it's producing. Just because it can pull these facts doesn't mean it's always 100% accurate. So just like we teach digital citizenship to our children or our students all the time anyway, this is just another aspect in which they have to learn that we have to look at it with a critical lens. Are these facts accurate? Is there any biases in here? Is it leaning a certain way? Is this factual information? So it does require that human element.
Yeah, definitely.
I know that a lot of what I've seen being done, you know, in testing out AI myself, if the source that the generator is pulling from is inaccurate, you're getting that inaccurate data, and you as the human will know if it's accurate or not accurate. So I think one of the concerns in, you know, just going building hopping and talking with teachers about this topic is, you know, they're using this and it's okay, right, if they're home and they do this, but like, how are we going to moderate this? And my biggest suggestion, there are tools out there, and we'll get to that at another time, but my biggest suggestion is their information accurate? That's step one.
And it's not always the case. It isn't always accurate. And yes, like you said, there are tools, and as everything develops, because it is in the early infancy right now, as everything develops, we can utilize those tools, but it shouldn't be for like a punitive action. Students should also be using those tools to look at their work and make sure that it's authentic to themselves. They should have access as much as educators do to say, let me run my work through the system and make sure that it's authentic to what it's supposed to be. So, you know, when we're looking at that, we have to make sure that students are able to function inside of the real world when they're done with their schooling, their elementary schooling and beyond, so that when they go to college and their workplace, they're able to function.
Right, and things aren't blocked in colleges, things aren't blocked at home, you know, there's only so much that you can do, so it's, you know, I find that it's our jobs to, you know, create that, you know, pathway to them, for them to understand.
Sure.
Yeah. One of the tools that I dived into, I have my little papers here, I was playing around with it, is Magic School AI. So Magic School, I've seen it on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it now.
Thanks, Elon.
Yeah, thanks, Elon. If you're watching us, I don't know, Elon, but and they have so many resources. So it's like I said before, it's twofold, right? So teachers can utilize it, students can utilize it. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about how teachers can utilize it, because if you just dabble in Magic School AI, the amount of things that you can do, and it's so clean and neat to understand that all you have to do is sign in and see the different options. They're all in squares. It's like a grid, and it's clear cut. And one of the options was what I did for Kevin, was create a song for a colleague. So I click it, and I'm like, hey, what do I have to do here? Type the person's name, Kevin. Type a little bit about them. Esports, net specialist, net spec 2. I think I said Leo. Yeah, I said a couple of things. He lives in Manorville. That was easy. Because he's my neighbor. Not really, but kind of. On the other side of town. And so I was like, let me see what they put. And then it's like, type in a song. I was like, all right, let me just call him. So it gives me a song that he likes, and literally in 5 seconds, it generated that right there. So you can have fun with it. Yeah. And I suggest that when you are being first introduced to this topic, have fun with it. See the capabilities. What does it have to offer? So one of the other things that I mentioned that I saw on here were suggestions for accommodations. And I was like, okay, let me see how this works. So it said, what do you want to help your students with? What is an area of concern in which you need help with? So I typed in focus. Just all I did was focus. And it gave me 10 suggestions, which the first couple were common. So I was like, okay, flexible seating. All right, I got that one down. Preferred seating, visual supports. Pretty good. Basics. And then I go down and I'm like, use of fidget tools. I'm like, I forgot that one. So what I've noticed with this example right here is even if you're struggling, you're like, hey, you know, I went through all the things that I normally do. Like, what are other suggestions? You know, it sounds like you could also Google search this, but I literally typed in, I clicked accommodations, I need help with, you know, the area of focus for a student that I may have, and it gave me 10 suggestions of what you could do. So it's someone to bounce things off of.
I think AI will really be a gift to teachers, and we can start looking at it that way. I know both of us are in the field of education, and even in your role as well, our days are filled. They're packed.
Absolutely.
The burden on teachers is overwhelming. And we can look at this as a gift to free us up from some of that busier work when really our attention should be on the students. So it would free us up from maybe grading as much, doing some more automatic grading or creating assignments and lesson plans and different things in a faster, more efficient way, so our focus can be where it really needs to be.
Right. And some of our platforms, if you notice and go through them, they do have an AI component. And I'll tell you right now, like, because we have Canva open, because they are EdLaw 2D compliant, and because we pay for Edpuzzle, so it's EdLaw 2D compliant, all of those tools that you are using have already built in AI months ago.
Yep.
And when dabbling in those platforms, I've noticed, like, it'll just appear like AI assist or teacher assist, and I'm like, okay, let me click that. I took a YouTube video, put it in, clicked generate questions, and it literally generated like 4 to 5 questions in my video that I pulled in automatically, and I went through the questions and they were pretty valid. There was maybe 1 or 2 that I had to change, and of course you always want to check back.
Right.
Because what we said, we wanted to make sure that the information's accurate, so that's number 1. Always check back, but I noticed that there were like about 5 questions that were inputted, and I was like, these are great questions. And it was even deeper thinking than I was thinking, like when watching the video. So I was like, oh, that's actually a really good question, and it's going to show me the perspectives of students as well.
Yeah, and Kevin can definitely speak to this more, but I think everyone thinks automatically, and this was the response of most school districts, was to block AI. ChatGPT came out and was like, block it. We don't know what it's going to generate. It's not EdLaw 2D. We don't know what it's going to do.
Blame Kevin.
So let's blame Kevin for it. And I'm sure he saw that as a response.
Right.
Everyone was blocking anything that had
And I
AI.
honestly think that that's just a natural response, because until you're informed and educated on what this is, of course we're going to protect you from it. We're going to do the best we can to protect you from it.
But now that you're seeing it's integrated into platforms, there's no getting away from it. It's 100%. Going to be integrated into everything.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you see that, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like, for me, it's funny, I wrote, like, a little list of just things. I know you obviously spoke to just some of the platforms and things like that, but I wrote down just examples of, like, things that I've experienced behind the door over there.
Behind the
of,
closed
like, working
door.
behind the closed doors. You know, working on the tech side, but then even, like, outside of here. Like, so one thing that I know is that, like, I've used it personally to see, like, as simple as, like, writing a bunch of things, just, like, proofreading some of my stuff. Like, I didn't even think the most simplistic thing to do, and I'm like even alphabetizing like a giant list of things that I've put out, and I'm like, wow, this is all right, a bit of a time saver. I know Photoshop now, like, and that's like a whole nother layer. This is like artwork and things like that, but like they've implemented AI and like generating some pieces into that, which is impressive. Like if you know, from a photography standpoint, if somebody took a shot of a photo on like a beach and there's like something they wanted cropped out, or they did crop it out, they've now shown like AI typing in maybe what they wanted to do to expand that picture. It's interesting just from like an art perspective. Even meal preparation and plans, like putting in like dietary restrictions, and I've seen like even making meal plans or like macros and things like that for like a diet plan, which is impressive. I know like even like working out, like you can make a workout plan for a month. I know like Whoop, I'm not wearing a Whoop anymore, but I have an Apple Watch. But like I'm sure Whoop.
Whoop, there
it's like
it
a fitness,
is.
Yeah, Whoop, there it is. It's like a fitness. It's like another fitness tracker. I was wearing it for a while, but I like follow a lot of their like social media stuff because they're always like on the cutting edge of things, along with like Apple obviously. But they put in like an AI coach now.
Wow.
So you can like actually go in the app, and it gives you like a workout for the day of like, hey, what do you want to accomplish today? And it'll generate like an AI coach. which I thought was impressive. The music and the song thing.
Yep.
I played around with that, like joking around. And then like on the IT end of things, like, writing or, double checking like a script or a code, obviously using it for good. And, no matter what, you're always going to have people that are trying to do something that they shouldn't be, like, as far as that. But you always have to, again, double check your sources and make sure you're implementing it in the correct way, automations and things like that. It's all exciting stuff. Like even my new computer I built, it has like an AI fan built in where it knows like if it gets to a certain temperature, it'll communicate with the board and do all different things. They're finding different ways to implement it.
They're
it's
sneaking
wild.
it in everywhere.
It is, and like you don't even realize it. I mean, listen, we have Siri and Alexa and Google. They're kind of like AI in that sense,
right?
Early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I think my son, there's a video on social media of my son. He was like maybe 6 months or so. I can't exactly pinpoint it, but I said, hey Google, sing Happy Birthday to Dante. And it sang, so he knows the song. He's like bopping around, and then it says to Dante, and he literally looks, and he gives the strangest face. I have to show you guys the video.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll attach it to here. And he was just like,
said my name.
Said my name. This robot sounding voice that's not mommy said this name.
Yeah.
And now he's running around because he's almost 3, and he's saying, "Hey Google," he calls it, "Hey Google, play whatever." So,
I love that.
Yeah.
You were saying coach. It kind of reminded me that they're really predicting that within 3 to 5 years, these AI systems will become so much more lifelike that they'll be able to be a one-to-one tutor. And I was thinking about that for our students. Like right now, to provide your child with a one-to-one tutor is so very expensive. But I think about how much more equitable our school district and the world would be if all of our children had access to a one-to-one tutor for what they needed.
Right.
I mean, to me, that was one of the most amazing things I've learned about AI so far and its possibilities. Yeah. And it would just be amazing to have that access, or even just to ask AI, hey, how do I, solve this math problem? Because you happen to be stuck at home. I think that's just incredibly amazing for our students to be able to access.
Right. And I think it's going to show them to not, like, I always think, okay, is AI giving them a more easy access, or is it going to show perseverance? And I think it's the way you utilize it.
Right.
So I think in your regard, with your example, I think that it's going to show them, like, depends on how AI is going to lay it out, but it's going to show them like the step by step, and they're going to still need to do that problem. So it's going to show them there's not a stopping point, because I remember chemistry was my like struggle subject in high school. So I remember just like sitting there, and I would just give up after a while, because I'm like, I don't understand this. If I didn't have because I had a tutor for chemistry, and I was like, I don't understand this. This is not a day that I see my tutor. I'm just going to leave it blank. So instead of leaving it blank, you're actually going one step further to see like, okay, I have a resource now that can actually help me if we get the tutors continue and stuff like that in that capacity. Like, okay, let me check now my sources and see that I can do this.
Right.
And I think it's going to just give another learning step to them instead of just giving up. I don't understand this. I'm going to close my book.
Yeah. And it really forces the student to think above the AI, because AI generates something for you. That's great. Now you have to use your critical thinking skills, your literacy skills to think above that and say, does this work? Does this make sense? And evaluate it. So really we're pushing our students even further.
Right.
100%. I agree.
This is going to be talked about for like an extensive period of time, but I don't know what else I can say.
All right, so we have the fall fitness piece of this.
Yes.
Oh yes, getting fit.
Yes.
Getting fit. You guys missed it before we, started the video. We were doing some push-ups back here.
Definitely.
Went for just light jog.
Yeah, Coach Kev over here was, showing us some stuff.
That's why we sound so winded.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what a day.
Yeah.
Lay back, take 5.
Out of breath, like lifting my water bottle.
Yeah.
So that's a joke, guys. We were not doing it. Not on work time.
Nah.
However, I'm going to toss this to Liz and ask her, so week 1, we asked everyone to visit the water. And, I explained specifically for me, and Kevin agreed, that whenever I go to water, I don't know why, but it calms me down. Mm. So we visited the beach, took maybe like a 5 or 10 minute stroll, and that's what we did for our first week. Everyone else visited water and told stories about their experience with going there and how it kind of made them feel refreshed. Week 2, we were with Christine Wynn, and she exposed us to the 5-7-8 breathing strategy, which kind of just calms your entire body down, which I had no idea about. I usually just take a deep breath for like a minute and then just go back. But the 5-7-8 truly did work. I did a reaction video on that, and Deb Smith, I'm going to shout you out. She did that too.
All right.
So now we're on week 3 of fall fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any ideas of what we can do?
Yes. So I love the fall weather. It is my favorite time of year. I actually got married in the fall. My anniversary is coming up because I love the fall so much. And I love to be outside during the fall just because of the weather. So what I try to do is I try to incorporate my exercise into everyday fall activities. My family and I, every year we have some traditions. The first thing we do is we go to Harbs, and we love to do the apple picking there. So apple picking is a really great way to go out with your family, walk across the fields, pick your apples, spend the day outside. Something else that we do every year is we go pumpkin picking. I actually live in Huntington, so we go to Schmitz in Melville, and we go across the fields and we pick our pumpkins, and it's a really enjoyable day, again, out in nature. And then, of course, there's always the chore of raking your leaves, which to me, I realize how old I'm becoming during that moment. Get some aches and pains from raking your leaves, but it's definitely fun exercise. And if you have children, nieces and nephews, they really enjoy those moments. Those are moments with your children that they'll definitely remember. So
you got to jump in the pile of leaves, though.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So here's a challenge. Ready? Rake your leaves. I want a picture of everyone jumping in them, okay?
Or pick an apple.
Pick an apple. Go the easier route.
Pick an apple, pick a pumpkin, and then jump in the pile.
Yeah, there you go.
Do something fun, fall in nature. Yeah. Those are just some suggestions,
cool.
but incorporate it into your fun activities.
I like
Perfect.
That.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to your responses, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.